in with Max and Brent, unlocking the minds of the industry's top real estate professionals. And now, here are your hosts, Max Rabin and Brent Jackson.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Keyed In Podcast. I'm Max Rabin.
And I am Brent Jackson.
Brent, today our guest is Meredith Margolis with the partners at Compass in Washington, D.C. Meredith started out in real estate in 2006. Before that, she was a business development manager at Arent Fox, which is one of the major law firms here in D.C. So we're going to find out why would you leave the law world?
Law industry.
You know? And Meredith, thanks a lot for coming out.
Thanks for having me.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got started, or just you're from Baltimore. We were just talking about this before the show started. So you're from Baltimore, and then you went to AU. So you're pretty local.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So,
but there's a big difference between Baltimore and Washington, D.C.
Yes, there is. Extremely.
I just didn't want to be that far away from my family.
Mm-hmm.
So American University seemed like the right choice. My sister followed suit since she went to Georgetown, and I never left. I didn't even go home the first summer. I stayed in D.C.
Where did you stay? Did you guys have a dormitory? Did you buy a house?
Most of the students, I was Greek, so most of the students rented in a couple buildings right near AU, and that's where I stayed for a couple of years.
Wow.
And then day after graduation, took a cab down to Dupont Circle, got out of the cab, and that was it.
That's simple. But so you got your position at Arent Fox. You were not an attorney though.
I am not an attorney.
Okay, so you were in a business development role there.
Right.
And what was the catalyst? Why did you want to make a switch to real estate?
So it was the 90s. And I had just wrapped up. I actually had a pottery studio in Dupont Circle. Wrapped that up, and
did you do pottery yourself?
I did not. It's a paint your own pottery studio.
Okay.
Before the one in Cleveland Park, and I was looking at all the industries that were actually making money, and it was the law is really the law firms really do it well here. So I have a marketing degree and started just knocking on doors. Eventually made it to Arent Fox a couple years later. I was at a legal recruiting firm, and then business development for a smaller telecom firm. And then we got to Arent Fox.
So what does a business development manager do for a law firm, for our listeners?
So we work with the attorneys to pitch business, right? So the attorneys know the law, they know how to advise their clients on legal matters, but they don't necessarily know how to go after the business. Maintaining it, they do very well usually, but it's going after it, new accounts. And so I worked with the intellectual property team there, and was able to secure a lot of really cool clients.
So yeah, sort of like marketing the firm to these other
correct
potential clients.
Yeah, even putting together RFPs, parties, client events.
Yep.
So that position, is it a base plus commission bonus? I'm assuming you're not going to get an origination fee because you're not a partner of the firm, but
I was just on staff.
Staff.
Yeah, just able to support the lawyers who needed help. Once a couple teams realize that it works to strategize, then more people start calling. But Arent Fox was really ahead of the game in the legal marketing world. That's a very normal position now, to have a marketing team. Arent Fox was one of the first to really have a marketing team, and we had a CMO, which was really unusual, who was my first mentor. And I wound up selling her house when she moved out of DC. But she came and really rebranded Arent Fox and put together a team. It was one of the first, which is it actually makes sense for Arent Fox because they're a little bit of a non-white shoed, get their hands kind of dirty place. Now they're very up there because they're they're national. But
I think in the Washington Business Journal this past week. We're in the week of April 13th. They had like the top 100 law firms based on employees. I think Hogan and Levels they might have been Covington was number 1. Hogan and Levels was number 2. Latham and Watkins was 3, all the way down to 100. So it's interesting. I'd have to go back and look and see where they're located in there.
Yeah, I don't know, but like Hovels, I mean, they merged, right? Like
They did.
that was during the time, the early 2000s, late 90s. That's when all the law firms were merging, dropping names,
Adding names.
adding names, right? It was Arent Fox, Plotner, Kittner, and Kahn. Went to Arent Fox under my CMO's, time. So I think they evolve. Like everything, it's a business, right? We run a business. Law firms actually run a business.
Right. So you got started in real estate in 06, correct?
Correct.
So we've
Ish.
interviewed, we've interviewed plenty of agents. A lot of them got started in that era, and it's always interesting because 06 was sort of, things were happening. It was pretty busy in 06, but then it quickly fell apart after that. But why did you start in real estate? What got you started?
Personal. I always loved real estate, and I actually, in my early 20s, I kept a journal of good places to rent in downtown, and people would call me, and it was, I just kept adding to apartment buildings, and I really was interested in kind of the excitement of going on in the DC. I really believe that was our first renaissance, and it was just on the tip.
Mm-hmm.
And I fell in love with someone who was in real estate on the commercial side. I got married, and in 06, I was just about to have my son. And a couple months before, I said to my husband, I really don't think I want to work in a law firm anymore. And he said, go get your license before you can't, before you just don't feel like you have the time. So I actually passed the exam in December of 05, got my license, and affiliated the day before my son was born at Long and
Wow.
Foster.
Fascinating. Going back a little bit though, you said you were doing journaling before you got in real estate for apartment buildings.
Well, I would keep a journal of what apartment buildings, what they would offer amenity wise, because people were moving here or someone had a friend, and I was just tired of having to remember it. And so I wrote it down. I would send the journal, the book, to people, a couple pages. I would go check out this. I mean, I would have the phone number, the building manager, everything, because most people were renting then.
So it was for friends.
It was just friends of friends.
Wow.
How did that come in handy later, if at all?
It's a shame, because if we had the kind of contact system we had now, that would have been fantastic.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things that kind of phased out, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I work with Jonathan Taylor, who I've been working with for over 20 years, and it's amazing. When I first started working with him, which was in the early 2000s, he had a lot of stuff handwritten like that, and stuff that he had kept track of, mailing lists, addresses in certain neighborhoods. That's how he put together his original farm lists.
Right.
He literally went block by block to select the houses that were going to be part of this list, versus now where we just press a button and you pull them all in.
I mean, he had to work really hard for that.
Yeah, he definitely did. But those lists are still our original lists. We still use those. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We kept all that and kept migrating it into our other platforms over time. So,
well, some people still prefer to journal. Even myself, I have Apple reminders. So everything I do, that's kind of my CRM, is Apple reminders. But then also have a journal. It's like a monthly calendar that'll also put stuff in there, like pick up my dry cleaning or take the dog to the vet this day or whatnot. You still journal at all?
I keep a to-do list on my iPhone, on Notes.
Right.
I use my Notes a lot.
mm-hmm.
And that actually has a backup of what people are looking for real estate wise, and also exactly what you have. This is the game that you have to go to. This is the therapy appointment you need to attend, et cetera, et cetera. You got to keep it straight somehow.
It's tough.
Mm-hmm.
So modern era, Meredith Margolis, you're now part of the partners team at Compass.
Mm-hmm.
We've interviewed.
We had Jen Touche
right,
on as well.
And so tell us about how you formed this group, and how it's all women, right? At the is it all women all the way through the group?
Yes.
Okay, currently, all right.
Yes, we have 4 admin, and they're all women as well.
Okay.
And it'll stay that way.
So yeah, half joking, what if
I don't know if it's half joking.
What if I want to join the partners? I'm like, you guys are awesome. I want to join the partners. You'd be like, goodbye. We can't.
I think it comes down to that there's a lot of great teams out there, and I think we really, I don't think a man might feel fully comfortable at maybe one of our several of our meetings. We talk about a lot of things. We talk about motherhood. We talk about, which is different than fatherhood.
Agreed.
We talk about hysterectomies. We talk about a lot of different topics, and we just feel more of a kinship towards each other.
Right.
And I think whether that's being a feminist or just wanting to help support other women, it's not that we love men, but we want to work just with women.
Have you guys had a man apply for an admin position or even an agent that wants to roll over and be a part of your team?
We had a gentleman apply, and we interviewed. We didn't want to not see what talent he brought
check the box,
to it.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, you never know. I mean, it's also, hiring is a funny thing because someone could even come with the credentials and it's still not the right fit. It wouldn't even really matter.
It's got to gel,
Yeah.
right? I mean, there's a reason that we all work with whom we choose to work with, right?
Absolutely.
You guys have great partners,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a lot of great people out there. You're just not going to partner with them, right?
Absolutely.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. So we were talking also a little bit about, sales and where we are now, but like, can you just give us an idea, like, we had 2 really solid years preceding this, like how have the partners done sales volume wise? You said you keep the numbers, so.
We check in every week. We got the pipeline. We are closer to 2019 numbers right now, which I think a lot of people, a lot of agents are feeling that way right now. Last night was the company awards, and we're number 2 team at Compass DMV, which we're really proud of.
Congratulations.
2022. Really exciting.
That's huge.
We're just like you guys. We're just beating the pavement every day. I think it's harder.
Can you describe your team real quick? You said you have 4 admin and how many agents?
So we have 4 admins. We have a marketing social media manager. We have our ops director, and then we have a listings manager, and then listing/special projects associate.
What does a special project person do?
We have client events that takes up a lot of time, or really giving really great support to the listings manager and our ops person.
Okay.
And then there's really 3 team leads. We're a little bit of a unique way we handle things. So it's myself, Eva Davis, Casey Avalafia, and we do all the administrative support, team lead, mentorship, accounting, you name it. And then we have the other folks on the team.
Do you think your team has a niche, or do you have a niche that you cater to, or?
I don't think we really have a niche because we sell all over the DMV. I think our niche is just, listening, right, and getting our clients what they need. It's the puzzle. We like to put it together, like you guys. But the guys are the same way. There's no.
We had this conversation this morning, and it's like an agent on our team was like, "We need to push up to be $1 million+ team." And I'm like, Rob and I, our bread and butter has always been turn and burn through the condos at $400,000. Like that's going to pay the bill on a monthly basis. And yes, we dabble in $2 million+ houses, but those aren't every day. And I was looking at your home snap this morning, and I think I saw like there was one condo you have on. It might have been in Southwest or over in Arlington for like $200,000 up to like $2 million+. So it's like you're in the same boat as we are.
Yeah, we're the same.
Yeah.
One, because I'm sure the people also buying the condos, they move quicker, right? So when we sell the forever house, they're not calling us maybe unless there's a real life change. But the condo people are calling because they're going to leave in 5 to 7 years. So I think it's a really great market to continue. It might take more time for less gain,
right.
But it really is a bread and butter. It's a really good way to put it. Jen and I always say we have no ego. We will sell a $20,000 parking space. Makes no difference to us. And that's how the whole team feels.
It's like the $200,000 condo. Like where did that lead come from? Where are they going?
It's not even a condo, it's a co-op.
It's a co-op. That's even better.
With a land lease.
Oh my gosh. That's good times.
Good times.
It's so fun to explain that.
That came from, well, let's see. So it's in heart of Roslyn's, River Place. So it's really, really a nice location, especially what's going on with Roslyn right now. And it's got a balcony. It's 700 square feet. It's for $200,000 in Arlington. You can't, on top of Metro. But you do have special financing, and there's no washer and dryer. So there's, that some people don't love. But there's something for everyone, even close in.
So where is that seller going?
Going home.
Going home, away from DC.
Yeah, away from DC.
And the lead came in from where?
That came from a client who lives in Foggy Bottom, and they work
Right.
together. And then he came from, we do a lot of work with a specific estate attorney,
Right.
and handle the estates that way. And there you go.
That's similar to us, right? We don't actively farm a $200,000 or $300,000 building, but it's stuff we've done in the past. Maybe they got a flyer from us years ago, or it's a client referring us to, hey, I've got a good friend that lives in this building that needs help, or it's just a straight, I have an investment property. It's a $400,000 one bedroom at the Apolline, 1330 New Hampshire Avenue that I need to sell.
That's
So
right.
it's like, it's not that we're actively pursuing a certain price point. It's just that it comes to us after being in business for almost 20 years.
I think it's also nice. You live in Capitol Hill,
Correct.
right? And Rob lives around here.
Mhm.
And I think there's also that feeling, you also have a location thing going on, that it's such a wide net that just by meeting your neighbors or talking to people or getting involved. I saw, you're a sponsor of Ludlow Elementary,
Yep.
that gala coming up, fundraiser, right? You're really in the community too. And so because your team is able to spread out, I think that is just a natural way of getting business.
Correct.
This isn't on the list here of questions, but in thinking about the kind of market we were in before with prolonged low interest rates, and it was going gangbusters for all of the top agents like us in the city, and we were like, this is great. We get great calls. We've got tons of showings. And now it's definitely slowed down considerably since last fall. We talked about, we had a little bit of a pickup at the beginning of the year, and now it's sort of like calmed down a lot, especially for I think our bread and butter type stuff that we all three of us work on, like our condos and everything. The traffic has definitely calmed down. What would you say in terms of going from such a hot, robust market and pivoting into a market that is thinner? What are some of your survival skills that your team discusses? Like, how do you continue to work and be as productive as possible without getting depressed? Because
Mhm.
sometimes it can be.
Absolutely. Strengthening the CRM, making sure it's real tight. And I think now more than ever, client development is really important. Picking up the phone. We always tell that to newer agents. Stop. I mean, everyone likes a text, but it is really nice to get an old-fashioned phone call. Making sure that everything's up to date and you are just on everyone's radar, because we know everyone knows 7 to 9 real estate agents, and just because you sold them something doesn't mean, and even if you send them a gift once a year, it does not mean that they're going to call you the next time. And just take that time really to cultivate. I know we're really thinking hard every Wednesday morning. Casey, Eva and I have a Wednesday morning call every Wednesday, and then our ops director gets on with us after that. And today's discussion was really thinking about the 6 month to year, where do we see ourselves, and make sure that we are positioned, not really now, but we're positioned fourth quarter correctly and even next year correctly. I think that's our biggest challenge with the way we were functioning before, because you didn't have to do the calls and
Right.
make the time. The flip side is we're all at our kids' baseball games and lacrosse games, and that's really lovely.
Yeah, well, it's a different business strategy, right? Because when you're there for the kid, whatever it is, lacrosse, tennis, soccer, basketball. But by nature of people knowing what you do, they come up to you and like, how's the market? So you've got to have your 30-second elevator pitch
That's
to
right.
whether it's good or bad, but you've got to know the market
Mm-hmm.
But
for
in
that
ter-
elevator pitch.
But in terms of the, like, obviously, yes, gaining a little maybe free, we'll say it's like your free time is back a little bit with like the
Yes.
toned down business. But it's like, I went from attending my stepdaughter's soccer matches, wearing my work clothes like on a hot day, and people be like, "You're always dressed up." I'm like, I gotta go somewhere.
Right.
Like, things are happening, okay? And now I'm the coach, okay? So you understand? Like, that's how things have calmed down.
Are they winning?
Oh, okay. Let's leave
Okay.
that alone. All right,
Okay.
we're getting
Do you
there.
know how to play soccer?
No. Of course I do. I've been studying a lot. I'm now like an expert soccer coach.
He's like
I'm
a
not
Ted
even like,
Lasso.
yeah. I'm like now
Yeah.
like U9 soccer master
score a
coach.
touchdown?
I'm serious. I could coach these girls. I love coaching these girls now, but it used to just be me like just getting her there
Right.
and like hanging out and being really hot in the sun. And now I'm like full on engaged and
Blowing
sending
that
out.
whistle.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't understand it because I play FIFA soccer every once in a while on Xbox with my little guy, and every time my guy runs down and I end up getting called offsides, I'm like, I don't even know what it is. So to coach like that level, I'm not sure if you guys have offsides or not.
We
but
don't
I'm
have
like,
offsides at our
yeah,
level.
It's probably better.
They're still just kids, right?
Right.
You just want them to enjoy it and have fun and be athletic and a little bit of discipline. Never
Right.
hurt anyone, but we're not 11 on 11 like strategy formations offsides yet. It's easier to understand than you think at this level.
So I guess similar with lacrosse. So your little one plays lacrosse.
Well, my little ones now are sophomore and junior in high school. They both play lacrosse, but girls and boys lacrosse have different rules. I have no idea what they are, but my daughter's a competitive swimmer, and I that's even hard for me to understand the meets, the heats. Everyone makes fun of me.
Yeah. So even like when you go to a lacrosse match, do you understand what's going on? Or you're just kind of like standing up cheering, and everybody's like, "What's going on?" They just scored on the other team.
If my kid's just running, I'm thrilled.
Right.
But I was cheering, I think it was last week's game or the week before a game, and I realized I should have stopped because something did happen, but
It's okay.
it's okay.
It's okay.
It's all right.
Yeah. So real quick, I wanted to circle back. You said that now you're reaching out to clients mostly via telephone. Do you guys have a CRM? Like what
We do.
prompts you guys to make the phone call to client A, B, and C? And if it is a CRM, do you mind sharing which CRM it is?
Well, Compass owns its CRM now. It was formerly Contactually. And we have business planning for it, or business. It's a business plan, so it's like a 3-month, a 6-month, a year touch point connected with every contact that's in there. And so, of course, you have to use it.
Right.
But if you use it, and I mean, I cleaned mine up the first month of COVID because none of us thought we were going to be working. And then, of course, 3 weeks later, everything opened up again. So it's been pretty tight ever since. But we constantly have to maintain it. Birthday, make sure people's birthdays. Also has it also allows you to do texting through the CRM, which I think is really neat because some clients do only want texts
Right.
or prefer their texts.
Okay, quick question though. On your Compass CRM, when you text through the CRM, does it come up as a blue text or a green text?
Oh, Max, I don't know.
That's a great question.
That's a great question.
Because I use Follow Up Boss, and
Okay.
there's certainly all that kind of functionality. But if you text someone out of there, it comes through the Follow Up Boss, like your whatever account you have set up through Follow Up Boss, and it's a green. And so it's like
Through your phone number or a different phone number?
it would be your phone number that you have set up with Follow Up Boss.
And it still comes through green.
Well, it's
Interesting.
it's not an iPhone.
right.
Going to an
It's like
iPhone.
people think you have an Android.
Yeah, and anyone who's listening to the show knows how uptight I am about that. Like, I don't want to get or receive or give green text.
Right.
It's got to be blue.
That's
on
how he
blue.
screens his clients.
Yeah.
Are you blue or green?
Yeah.
Right.
No.
Yeah. But you don't know that.
I don't, but I'll
But that's
find out.
okay. But
Yeah.
but you're using the tool, and that's
Yeah.
it makes it much more effective that way. And I can't remember who we had on, who was saying about that, but I think it was about Follow Up Boss. Though it's like if you're not putting it in Follow Up Boss, it didn't happen. So that's how they
That's
keep
right.
track of everything. So
It's
assuming
hard.
It is hard,
it's
yeah.
really hard to remember or to text through Follow Up Boss or your CRM, whatever your CRM you're using, because then it is like it didn't happen.
Yeah.
That is actually my biggest challenge is.
Mhm.
So I see the task come up every day, but I sometimes forget to do it through the CRM, or I'll just pick up the phone or text, and then I don't get the credit.
the credit of the contact,
not
of the
linked
touch.
in.
Yeah.
So on another point on that, do you micromanage might not be the right word, but so you're a team lead. Do you go into the other agents that are underneath you and like make sure that they're doing their touches, whether it's daily, weekly, monthly, or quarterly?
Eva right now is mentoring. We take on different positions every year, so Eva has that role right now.
Okay, so she goes in and looks at.
I don't know if I don't think we're going in.
Okay.
I think everyone is their own boss in a way.
Right. Take the horse to the water. but you
Right. I
can't
mean, we
force
feel
them to
very
drink.
confident that everyone's using the tools to the best of their
Right.
ability.
Yeah, we just hired a new member of our team who is doing administrative work, and also he's an agent. Shout out to Amir, and like he was already using Follow Up Boss before he joined the team, and so it's been a really easy way to like integrate and just stay on top of what both of us are doing and see how we can use the tool better. And I'm always like figuring out other ways to add more notes in and do it in CRM, and then that way every time the task comes up, I can look at exactly the chain of everything that I've written or a phone call. And yes, it is more work, obviously, but I don't know, that's my brain. That's how I like to stay organized.
But that's going to make a difference when you call the client the next time and you remembered that they talked about their Uncle Bernie, and you can say, how's Uncle Bernie?
Yep.
They're going to think you're a rock star.
Absolutely.
So,
go ahead, sir.
So in this changing market, can you dive a little bit into like your sales meetings? You says you all meet on a regular basis as a group, and then it's kind of like management level. But when you're in a group meeting, like kind of what are your talking points in a changing market? Is it just about your business? Is it about the market? Both?
We're pretty organized. So every Monday we have our team meetings at 1 o'clock. They're 1 to 2:30. And then 2:30 to 3, we have a rereading of the contract with one of the brokers at Compass, because we feel that is just really important to always refresh the contract. So we talk about, the admin get to talk about what's working and not working for them, ideas that they have. So they have about the first 20 minutes of the meeting, could be a little longer. And then we start talking about either we go around for the weekend update. So everyone it's a good therapy session. We kind of can hash out some things that are going on or support each other. And then we go over the pipeline. So we have an actual pipeline that we go over and percentages of if it's going to close or where it is in the queue.
Interesting.
It's really organized.
So you guys do active, under contract, coming soon, pocket listings.
Correct. And then, of course, the discussion, who needs open house support, anything going on this weekend we need, or if we have, every other quarter we have a client event, so that's discussed, who to invite to that, anything that's going on. That is the time block that everyone can bring anything to major topic. What we try to avoid are group texts. Do you think this is right? Do you think we should do this? Well, I think this, because that's really not productive use of your time, and you can't focus, right? You're focused on other things during the week.
We've had that same issue. It's especially in text messages. It's like someone needs open house help, and then it gets hijacked by like, here's a pretty kitty cat, and over here's a dude, and there's a fancy car, and it's like,
you can't have that.
Yeah, and then you can't go back up, and it's like, well, who needed help, and like which property or which day?
You guys don't use Slack?
We switched to Slack.
Yeah, that helps.
A couple months ago.
That helps a lot.
So we've tabled the group text messaging for that exact stuff. It's like, here's a pretty kitty cat, or there's a fancy car. Look at that suit. Happy birthday. Things like that.
I think when we first started using Slack, we literally had a Slack channel just for dogs. So you can just open a Slack channel for people who want to share their dog memes. It's like,
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
Well, because
there must be a lot of dog memes.
Well, there were, but that channel is sort of. But I'm just saying that like it helped consolidate our conversations. So we have I don't know. Do you guys use Slack?
No, we don't.
So then quick question: how do you organize your conversations about your various listings and contracts and everything?
It's all done on Monday.
So, but I mean, if you're in the flow of a contract and you have things that are coming up and emails and conversations that need to be had with you and your team, do you text them about those things like within a text, your administrative staff, or?
Yeah, I think then there's texts. And then if whoever you're working with on the listing, let's say, for example, you're having, I have daily calls with Molly Peter, just checking in what's going on with Jen Touche, who we work a lot together. So, we're checking in daily on a phone in the morning just to get everything ready for whatever we need for the day.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, we use Slack. We have basically every property that we have either listed or under contract has its own channel. So every conversation is organized within the channel, and we can put, if there's a disclosure or a new document, like anything, it can just be transferred into Slack and then goes into our Dropbox file for whatever we're keeping on file. And that's been like, that's a life changer. So
so by category through Slack, there's a address.
Literally the property address is the conversation.
It's great for the admins because they
That
can,
is great.
instead of doing like, even like during if you could break down the group text into like just you and like one or two admins,
Hmm.
if everything is on Slack for us, it's like, it's there. So it's like, I told you to put this or that or the other, or they can come back and say, well, you didn't say this or that. It's everything is in that Slack channel
Hmm.
versus like a group. The issue is it's like everybody does things differently in our group. It's like some people call, some people text, some people email, some people walk by the desk. So it's challenging for the admins to kind of group all the information together. But Slack is like the one consistency. It's like just put it in Slack.
Yep.
I think our Slack is our ops director
Okay.
listening to you.
Okay.
Like we work for her. Like
Right.
she tells us what's due. Like today we had our Wednesday meeting, our call. And so Casey and I got off the phone and Melissa said, Eva, can you hang out? I need to talk to you about 3 different things.
Sure.
Changing subjects a little bit. You mentioned you do quarterly client events
Quarterly or twice a year.
twice a year.
Yeah.
Like, what do those look like?
2 or 3 weeks ago, we decided to really on brand actually. We invited some clients to the Gloria play at the DC JCC. I sit on the board there and Eva does. And Gloria Steinem, fantastic, powerful feminist. And it was her story. It was really a great evening. So we had wine and cheese for a couple people. And, you know, basically the first 30 people who said yes, they got to go.
That's awesome. So you send out like an email blast or?
Yeah,
Okay.
That's very topical for your team too.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That
And then
works
we
really
we have a Halloween event that's been going really well.
What's
Nice.
that like?
At the Cleveland Park Club. Casey lives in Cleveland Park, so they have a really cute little club there. So we have our clients, they paint pumpkins, more kid friendly.
Right.
Got the ice cream truck.
No haunted house or anything like that?
No, I don't like haunted houses.
No. Do the kids come dressed up?
They don't, but they definitely they leave with a big pumpkin, so that it's really
That's
fun.
good.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that you had a mentor when you first started, or
So the CMO of Arent Fox, who hired me,
Yep.
was my first mentor. Really, just really allowed me to organize my thoughts, understand business development, and really how to navigate law firm life. I think in many ways is different.
Yep.
Which definitely prepared me to be a real estate agent.
any real estate mentors?
And then when before I had your partners, I actually was part of a team. So in between, I joined Long and Foster and I have 2 babies. My kids are a year apart and I'm doing kind of sort of some real estate deals. I'm actually also for 6 months still part-time at Arent Fox.
Oh, wow.
And
So
they were
those-
totally fine with it.
So those 6 months you're with Long and Foster, just for our newer agents, rewinding back to when you got into the industry, were you by yourself before you joined this other team?
I was by myself for 2 years.
Okay.
Doing a couple deals a year. It was 06, 07, 08, you lock up the credit cards. And so I was hired to do my first listing because at that point I was just supporting buyers.
So for 2 years you were just buyers.
Yeah. And I had no idea what to do with a listing. So I talked to my broker and I said, I want to connect with someone because I want to learn the right way. Who should I talk to? And she said, well, who are you thinking? And I said, well, we just had this amazing dynamic team 6 months before join Long and Foster, Ferris Peter Levin. And I started, at that point, you're always in the office, right? Because everyone was always in the office. And I was hanging out with them a lot. And I said, I really want to group with Molly Peter. And my broker's like, I don't know. She really only does high end. I don't know if she'll really want to help you, but why don't you go ask her? And so I asked her, she goes, of course, that sounds great. We never sold it.
Interesting.
Yep,
Well,
that was a co-op in
was
Ems
it?
Yeah, what
Morgan.
was this?
Co-op?
Co-op in Ems Morgan on Champlain.
Oh, I know that
I
building.
know the building.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but what I got out of it is a couple months later, Molly said, do you want to join the team? And so, Molly's still my mentor, and Peggy Ferris and, Judy Levin, in blessed memory. I mean, they were really amazing, this dynamic all-female team that they were together for over 20 years.
Yeah.
maybe 25.
So how long were you with them?
I think maybe 4 or 5, maybe 3 or 4. I don't remember actually. And then we decided to come over to Compass.
So is that kind of your inspiration? Like they were all female, so you took some inspiration from them, or did it come from somewhere else with the partners being female only?
I think that was definitely it had to be. I just love being around women, but remember, I love men.
I get it.
Noted. So when you came over from Long and Foster to Compass, you came by yourself, or did you have your own team? Like how did that parlay?
When I came to Long and Foster?
Or when you went from Long and Foster to
To Compass.
Compass?
Oh, we came over together, Peggy, Judy, Molly, and myself. And then the only other people in the Compass office was Trent and his team.
Right.
That was it.
So are you guys out of the Chevy Chase office?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we decided to open that office.
We're with Meredith Margolis from Compass here in Washington, D.C. Does the partners, your team, do you guys work with any lead sources like Zillow or anything like that? No.
We don't. We've talked about it. I think because we did a study a couple years back, 97% of our clients are from referrals. So we figured we would focus on getting leads from our past clients, which is why we do the client events, and we have different programs to make sure they remember us or we remember their anniversary and things like that.
Can you go a little deeper into that? Because we had this conversation yesterday in our meeting. If you balance it out over the calendar year, our group, it's like we get business from 3 different sources. It's like flyers, past clients, and then referrals. And then, a little bit of open house, a little bit of lead online gen. But 97% comes from referrals. Aside from the client parties, like diving a little deeper, like what else are you guys doing to stay in front of them, to stay top of mind?
I think it's the CRM that is pushing us through, but creating a monthly email so they can see what's going on in their neighborhood, asking them if they want it first, and if they do, you set it up. So that's always a touch point.
Mm-hmm.
Remembering their home anniversaries.
So in the home anniversary, I'm just curious, do you guys send it every year or just the first year after they bought?
Every year.
And then what do they get?
They get flowers.
Flowers.
For a plant.
Is it on automatic? Because I know some agents have a relationship with a florist where they can just give them the address and then the florist automatically sends it out once a year versus having to be remembered. Do you guys have something similar to that?
We do. One of our clients lives on the hill. She's a florist, does beautiful work. And so we partner with her.
I like that idea. We used to do that years ago and stopped. I don't know why, but I think we need to start doing things like that, especially in a market like this where we got to try everything.
Right. Do you call them? But you probably call them, wish them a happy anniversary. Or no.
I don't know either. I mean, they're on for me personally, they're on our touch plan, like it's monthly.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll send them, depending on where they are in a cycle, right? If they're getting ready to buy or sell, it could be more frequent.
Mm-hmm.
But by and large, it's monthly, and it's going to be something that I find relative to the market. It could be like right now, today's pollen count is like insane. It's like way too high. So it'll be something like that that's just generic, and then something that's real estate related, whether it's inventory or some article that's from Wall Street Journal, New York Times, or the Business Journal.
Yeah, really helpful. And we also send out monthly marketing pieces.
Going back to the
sphere.
I'm sorry. Going back to the mentorship aspect, you were saying that Eva on your team is now mentoring a new agent. Have you ever taken that role and mentored someone? What do you think about that?
I love it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I really do. I think, especially with all the technology now, there's a real opportunity with new agents to be able to capture everyone they meet in an open house. I mean, if you had captured everyone that you met in the first couple of years of our career, right, we'd have a lot more people in our database.
Are you still doing open houses?
I still do. I think it's relevant for me to be able to see what's going on in the market. I think it's a great snapshot. And for certain clients, I want to be able to report that I was there and that I know exactly what's going on. I think for some micro markets, it's not necessary all the time.
I'm definitely still doing open houses.
Mm-hmm.
Like we talk about open houses all the time. You know, like, do you still do them? Like, what are we like?
And it's a great way to pick up. I like them because I feel like I can connect with people and pick up new business. There's always a couple of people who aren't unrepresented.
Right. And I think agents in general do open houses for different reasons. I've always said, me personally, yes, going back to when I first started, I was trying to get buyers. But now that I've pivoted, I'm more trying to audition for the next seller coming through the door. Like, here's my bandwidth on my knowledge for the neighborhood, the building, the block, what have you. Here's I present a property. This is me being polished, hoping that I can get the phone call, whether it's 1 week or 1 year from now, for to sell your place that's right down the road. And then, yes, I'm in there. I'm connecting with a buyer that I was hired to sell the property by the seller, so I can, speak very confidently on whatever it is to a consumer coming through who might then go back and call their agent like, hey, I need to go back and take a look at this.
My current mindset with open houses is, we have inventory that we need to sell as a group, between like Jonathan and myself, and that's like when the store is open. And like I'm not there like every single weekend, but all of these listings need attention, and I don't always want to like, ask any random agent to just do an open house. Sometimes I know I have to be there for my clients. It's just part of the process.
That's right. And we do know the house best or the property best.
Yeah.
And you can point out certain things that others can't.
Absolutely.
So what do you do? I mean, this is a case study. You've got 10 listings and there's only 2, 4, 6 of you, but every seller wants their place to be open this weekend. Then what do you do? Well,
okay, if I can't staff it with one of us, then we will put it out, to the company and see who might be able to pick it up. We have a list of agents that we'd like to reach out to first. We know are awesome at open houses and love picking up open houses from us. If we can't find anyone, we've certainly offered to pay people to do open houses. That doesn't always work either, depending on the weekend.
What about you?
I think similar. We have a short list of people that we can count on who are really good about following up with you, the listing agent. You need to know within a half an hour of the open house closing how it went if you're not able to go. I think that's key. And the other thing we do is that for condos, we make sure we have someone who's opening the door, so we're not going back and forth.
A door greeter.
A door greeter, which actually my daughter runs a company that does that. So you don't have to do it's a plug, but more importantly, agents don't have to do it because I don't think actually that's our value add.
Yeah.
So we should be upstairs. It's classier that way, someone welcoming you.
I think 2 points for agents that are listening to this podcast. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think if you're working for another agent at an open house, respond back with, very good content that agent can report back to the seller. I had someone do an open house, I think it was this past weekend, and they printed out, there was 3 agents that signed in on the cards. So I was able to then follow up with the buyer agents that came through the open house, and then a list of the other buyers and the feedback that was giving, which was very helpful.
So you do handwritten cards?
No, I don't. But I don't do a sign-in sheet. But the agent that held the open house for us sent me this like 15 minutes after the open house. It was like, here, she did do no house cards, and then she sent me these 3 buyers are working with these 3 agents. So I was able to follow up with those 3 agents, and then here's the rest of the feedback. So it gives me more content to give to the seller, which makes me look like a star. So your daughter has a company. Can you share more information on that for agents?
It's called Welcome.
Okay.
And she staffs with her peers, and she's 16. For $20 an hour, we'll give you a staffer who welcomes everyone, and they text the agent upstairs saying, "I've got 1, 2 people coming up the elevator."
I'm really impressed. Okay. Because we have a 12-year-old who's almost 13, and I know there's a big difference between 13 and 16. But the idea of our 13-year-old stepdaughter doing anything like this, it's not there. Like, so this is amazing. I love the entrepreneurial
another 6
spirit.
months, maybe.
Yeah.
She can interview with Isabel, and Isabel's happy to put her on staff.
So it's welcome.com or
yes.
welcome.com? Or welcome. I can Google it, right?
I'll send you the information. I don't know if she has a website. I think it's just all by text.
It's like the Babysitter's Club, but like
it is.
It's totally like the Babysitter's
Urban
Club.
Pace uses her. She's got a W-9 going on. It's great.
Yeah, if you could share it with us, I'm sure, because we have a lot of condos.
Great.
I know.
And to your point, you need to have someone downstairs, and if they're polished, they can, be very warm and welcoming to the person coming up. But more importantly, when they leave, that consumer is most likely going to say how they really feel
do.
about the condo.
And then she can text them and say,
Right.
"Oh, how was your visit? Do you like, that person's a hot lead," type thing.
Right.
You used her once right before COVID. Actually, I remember Rob called us and needed someone last minute.
Okay. That's good.
I will resend the information for welcome.
Yeah, please.
This is genius because sometimes you don't want to like put out like if you ask another agent, even from your own team, because then you're like losing manpower there.
Absolutely. Plus,
And-
it's hard to motivate that person,
Right.
Because they're literally just answering the door. They don't have any FaceTime with the client.
And also answering the door. Okay. Recently, so 810 O Street, I've got a listing at the Perla, right?
Mhm.
And someone on the board probably was like, I'm tired of these agents doing open houses and like letting people walk through the lobby. So now I have to be in the lobby all of a sudden. Like within 2 weeks, it's like, anyway. So thankfully, another agent was down doing the same thing and was sort of just letting people in and handling it the other day. But I don't want to be the one downstairs like waiting at the door and like then I'm on the elevator with them.
Right.
So
it's not
how
your
you
value
doing?
add.
You know, it's not a great introduction.
Mm-hmm.
You're absolutely right.
And if you sell it as the experience, right? Because you're giving the consumer a great, classy experience.
But if you spin that right, depending on what your motive is for that open house, you could get some young buck that really is trying to like get as many clients as possible, and they want to be down at the front because if there's 2 units open in that building, someone's got to be at the front. Next thing you know, they end up riding on the other unit because that agent has like really like steered them in that direction.
But then 2 other people show up, and do you leave them in the unit?
Yeah.
And go down and get the other person?
That's true.
That's the problem.
I think there's a real utility there. It has utility actually, right? Like the what ifs are great, but I think going back and forth
It's the going back and forth.
exhausting.
It's awkward. It's awkward.
Yeah.
You should
then
just
you're
stay
just-
at the Georgetown house,
Yeah.
the
Well,
Jackie O house.
yeah, no. I mean, that's not realistic, right? No, this is like what we do.
Yeah.
This is like the reality of being a realtor. And that was my thing the other day. It's like, you have guests downstairs, like, cause the other agent had left during my last hour and it had been slow. And I was like, well, maybe this is gonna be one of those slow days. All of a sudden it got really busy
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going up and down the elevator. Like I'm the elevator attendant. It's not really my job.
That's just not a good use of your time.
Feels unfair.
That's right.
All right.
Anything else you want to complain about?
Yeah, tons.
Well, welcome can take that away for you and can help you.
So that's why you're here. This is the big sell for welcome. This
I
is
had
great.
no intention today, but it just came up.
But I think that's
I'm in sales.
That's a
no, I think
great-
it's awesome.
That's a great thought.
Seriously.
Isabel just asked me the other day. She's like, "How? It's been a little slow, Mom. Our condo's just going fast because I'm not getting as many calls as I used to." I'm like,
Wait till this weekend.
exactly. That's what I said. Wait till this
Because I
week.
know we have one on Sunday. It's 801 Virginia Avenue that we're listing, and it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath penthouse in Navy Yard. Same setup. There's no front desk person, so someone's got to be down at the front to let somebody in, and then they're going to go upstairs where the agent would be. So, yeah, she'll get some calls this weekend. They might be
Excellent.
fighting over. It's like we're bidding up. It starts at 20. Who's the highest bidder?
She's got a whole arsenal of
That's good.
teenagers.
No, I think I seriously need her on Sunday for real.
I'll send you the
So do
text.
we.
and
Alright.
Text her today.
So how do they get around town? I'm thinking like if you're in Northwest, I'm not sure where you live, but do they have a car? They take the metro, Uber to?
These city kids really know how to get around. There's a couple that, well, some of them drive now, but most of them just take metro or bus. They know how to get around, or
bless.
their parents will drop them off and they'll just figure out how to get home. We really do. I mean, the beauty of this town is that we have such a great public transportation system. And all the DC kids have free Metro cards.
It's a different topic, but I guess for both of you guys, we have a 9 and a 5-year-old, and that's always crossed my mind is like, when do you let them get on Metro
that's
by
personal, man.
themselves?
Yeah,
It's personal.
about 10, 11.
Oh, really? 10 or 11?
I mean, I know it was a different era, but I was riding the metro like in the 90s down to Gallery Place when I was probably 12, 13. Just like
That was a
Yeah, what were you
different.
doing
That was a
down there?
rougher time.
me and my buddy, we wanted to go buy Chinese like throwing stars, and they had like these weird shops back then. There's none of that stuff anymore.
Not anymore.
so
Remember the
bizarre.
vault and the
Of course.
fifth column?
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
old 930 Club.
Oh, is
we
that
did
on,
all
like,
that.
G Street?
That was F Street, I think.
F
the
Street,
It was
is
vault.
that
930 F Street, and yeah, I think I went to the 930 Club by myself when I was 14. So
The 930 Club.
the original 930 Club, yeah. It was weird. It was weird.
How did you get in?
It was an all ages show.
Oh, okay.
I don't think they were checking back then either.
There
I was like, if you have a fake ID when you're 14,
bro, it was the 90s in DC. It was a thing.
Wild Wild West.
It was different. Yeah.
It just depends on your kid too, right?
Right.
Going back
Totally.
to but I mean, my son prefers to drive since he has his driver's license now, but my daughter will take metro and bus everywhere, and all of her friends will too.
The market's been up and down. We talked about it on the show and before. Do you have any personal predictions for the rest of this year going into 24?
I think it's going to remain up and down. I would like, maybe it's my positive attitude. I think it's going to be a little busier in the summer. I think we've had a delayed spring market between interest rates but I think it's going to remain pretty consistent. I don't think we're going to see this big jump. And inventory is the lowest I've ever seen it. And so if there's not enough to show, there's not enough to sell. There's too many buyers to every piece of property right now.
I've got a great buyer coming into town next week, like a cash buyer for $2.2 million. I have nothing to show him.
Right.
Like maybe one or two houses that are probably not in the locations he wants. It's like, that's the reality.
Have you ever seen, I mean, I've never seen it like this in my time of being a real estate agent.
No.
So
Yeah.
I will say, I think if we could band together, I'm not saying even the real estate community, but we do need to get back to the office. I think that is our biggest Achilles heel. There's not enough people downtown. Now, there's micro markets that are doing really well. Southwest Waterfront, packed every 7 days a week, can't get a lease, et cetera, et cetera. But I know people are getting used to working from home, but we really do need to push for that. And I don't know how you do that between the city council and the
Right.
district.
And that's a countrywide.
And I think
issue.
the federal government needs to come back.
Yes. But
That would change our market.
Yeah. And I think that's New York struggling with that. You've seen San Francisco, people leaving
Right.
San Francisco and flocks. I think it's just a matter of getting people in general back to the office, creating that synergy that was there before, and everything is on a Zoom.
But
That's right.
taking that a step further, though, what is the incentive? So, like, take it at a corporate level. If you're lowering your overhead and you can still be "quote unquote" as productive,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone's happy enough or happier without the office environment or whatever culture that we think they're missing, what's the incentive? How do you do it? Thoughts?
It's hard to incentivize if the money works. I think, though, long-term prediction, we're going to find out that we're not as productive. I think that is going downhill quickly. And I think we're going to realize it in fourth quarter and next year that people aren't as productive. And the synergy between people really are needed in the office. And I'm not saying 5 days a week, but 3 to 4 days a week you should be in the office now. That's how we all got our referrals long term. That's how we all met people. And there's going to be a real lack of connection in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
I think that's spot on.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to take some time to see the productivity on the bottom line of a company to see if they're being
Sure.
able to work from home or not is effective.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a lag in this kind of
Right.
information. But yeah, I mean, it's always about the bottom line. So we'll be finding that out more and more, And I guess that's what, that was in the discussion for the great resignation or like the quiet quitting and all of this stuff. Because I talk to people on a day-to-day basis and it's like, are they really, I mean, I know they're busy, they're doing their Zoom calls and everything, but it's not the same as when we were all like going to offices and all of the other businesses that support everything else in downtown. Still plenty of empty storefronts. What do we do here? Yeah, so we need people back. Period.
Yeah, and my prediction on that, I was talking about the renaissance of DC because we all experienced it. We could be on the cusp. I think we are on the cusp of a new renaissance of the district, but that needs to be pushed a little further with people back into the office.
Right on. Meredith, thank you so much for coming out today.
Thank you.
Brent has his rapid fire questions for you.
5 easy questions.
Okay.
Or are they? Your favorite vacation spot?
Miami,
Where do you go to Miami?
North Miami Beach.
You have a hotel or do you just have
We
a
have
house?
a little place there.
Have
It's
a
my
little place
happy
there?
place.
That's awesome.
All right, stop. I love North Miami. I love that area, like that whole pocket going up there. Like, what do you have a condo there? Or
My grandparents had a condo, and I took
Perfect.
it over from the estate. Yeah.
That's like,
So I've been going down there since I've been 19, and I love it. I just sit on the beach. Perfect.
That's awesome.
that's good to know. See, I could just get the little condo. I don't need the big like house,
The big
with
house
the
will cost you
pool.
$5 million plus.
Well, there you could still get like an okay house in Miami Beach for like 2.5.
Yeah.
Not
Not for
Not on the
long.
water.
for long.
Market is wild down there.
I was
now.
down there in 2020. We were doing a little vacation at the Fontainebleau, and I was like on Zillow, and like the neighborhood, like just across the intercoastal from Fontainebleau. I'm looking at these little houses, and they're not little. I mean, like 2,000, 2,500 square feet with pools and everything. Like 1.3 to 1.6. I was like, oh, that seems like sort of reasonable. Those are all over 2
$2
million. now.
million now. Mhm.
All of them.
What is that? Is that the Edgewater district?
Yeah, that's what's really coming up.
Yeah. That's a great area. It's very cool there. All the
Mhm.
art and graffiti all over the
Yeah.
storefronts. Follow-up question. This doesn't count. What airline do you take to get down there?
JetBlue or Southwest?
I love JetBlue. I hate Southwest.
Southwest is across from the rental car, and if you need a rental car, it's really
Yeah.
easy.
When you do Southwest, though, do you have a seat assignment?
No, but I don't have any luggage, so I just walk on.
I have travel anxiety, so it just gives me anxiety. It's like herding cats or cows, whatever, onto the plane. So I'm grateful that Amtrak switched from that to assigned seats.
Mhm.
So, favorite after-hour drink?
Oof. Just a really nice IPA. I like beer.
Last live concert?
I think we'd mentioned we were going to a couple in the summer. I was at Sam Morril, which is a comedian, 2 weeks ago at the Warner.
Was that good?
It's hilarious.
I don't know the name.
New York comedian.
New York guys are funny.
It was really great to laugh.
Nice.
Did you see Seinfeld when he came?
I didn't,
You saw
Yes.
Seinfeld,
Yeah,
right?
for
He was
sure.
good.
but the anthem, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who would play you in a movie?
Annette Bening.
Perfect.
Very good.
Perfect.
You got that
Nailed
one
it.
right on. So it's Saturday night. You're scrolling through the TV. What makes you stop? What show comes on or movie comes on that you're like, I've seen it a million times, but I'm going to watch it again?
I'll watch anything. Well, I mean, I do love Tom Hanks, so I'll watch anything with him in it. I love Pretty Woman.
Pretty Woman's good.
That's a classic. But anything like sci-fi-ish too. Like we love Star Wars, Star Trek.
So you're stopping on Forrest Gump.
I love that's one of the
It's
best
classic.
movies.
It's
Yeah.
been coming on recently. I think I've seen like 3 times in the past
Mhm.
week. It's one of those classics. You're just like, I'll watch it. Doesn't matter where it's at in the movie. I'm gonna go. Boat's shrinking, and Bubba Gump is gone.
It's
Or was it Bubba
fantastic.
Gump? Yeah.
I'm wondering if it
Bubblegum.
holds up because I think my kids tried to watch it and they were not enthralled, which was disappointing.
We showed it. We showed it to the kids recently, and they liked it. I mean, there's some heavy stuff in there with
Oh,
the Vietnam
absolutely, yeah.
aspect and everything.
Yeah.
But they thought it was really cool.
So my 9-year did a little bit of Googling on it. Little movie trivia for you. Do you know why Tom Hanks speaks like that in the movie?
No.
It's because they couldn't get the kid to speak properly, the little kid. So he mimicked the kid and spoke that way through the whole movie. I'm like, how did you
Interesting
find that
story.
out? He's like, Google. All right.
Something I wouldn't have looked up, but it
Right.
seems,
I didn't look
that's
it up
that's
either.
showing, but that's showing like some interest. There you go.
Good for you.
Ingenuity. Meredith, thank you so much for coming out today and sharing your time with us. We always ask if you have a charity that you would like us to give a donation to. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Just keep supporting the Edlavitch DC JCC just down the street. Great programming.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Meredith.
Thank you.
It's great.
Thanks for listening to Keyed In with your hosts, Max and Brent, unlocking the minds of the industry's top real estate professionals. For more information on selling your home, find us online at keyedinpodcast.com. Remember to subscribe to Keyed In on Apple Podcasts or wherever you like to listen to podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at Keyed In Podcast, at Rabin Max, and at Brent E. Jackson. And follow Max on TikTok at MaxwellRabin_properties.